Diodes. What are they? What do they do? And how do we use them? Why do we need them? Stick around until the end of this video and you will probably learn a thing or two about them. Hello viewers and welcome to a new STM32 World Electronics video. Now, I started this video series a while back because I've seen so many people asking questions about electronics that are fairly basic, and it is my opinion that you cannot work with embedded electronics or embedded microcontrollers unless you have at least a basic understanding of electronics, and the purpose of this video series is to provide just that. Now, we have already made a number of videos in this series. I think this one will be number 5 or something like that. And we started covering basic circuits, then we went on to cover something called Kirchhoff's law. You should watch these videos if you haven't watched them yet. And then I talked about Ohm's law and voltage dividers. And in the last video, I was talking about capacitors. Now, you could argue that I should probably have pushed a video in here about inductors. I left that out, but truth of the matter is they are rarely providing any meaningful function in embedded electronics, digital electronics, so I am going to leave them out for now. As usual, I am going to provide links and to a lot of things down in the description, so please head down there and read the description. And while you're down there, you might as well like and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. Now, one of the links that will be down there is a link to the article on the STM32 World Wiki about diodes. Contrary to the earlier components, it is a little bit difficult to make a water analogy about a diode. It is essentially a one-way valve for electric current. That means current can flow one way through it, but it cannot flow the other way through it. The symbol is like this, like you can see up here, and typically these pins on a diode is called an anode and a cathode. And the idea is, if you look at the symbol, the arrow will point in the direction where current can flow. So it goes into the anode and it will go out on the cathode. But if there's a voltage applied the opposite direction, there will be no flow through it. Back in the olden days, a diode looked like that. It was typically a little glass thingy with these days it's encapsulated in plastic, or it's actually SMD components. This, I don't know actually what this is. I don't think I can read it, but it might be one of the old diodes, which is called 1N4148. I don't know if that is the case, but it could very well be. Before going into a simulation about a diode, it is worth mentioning that a lot of different versions or types of diodes exist. The most basic one is a silicon diode, and what happens is if you apply a voltage over this in the right direction, that means a voltage high on the anode side that is lower on the cathode sides, there is a certain voltage drop across this diode. And for a typical silicon diode, that voltage drop will typically be the rule of thumb about 0.7 volt. Other diodes that exist and are common in diagrams are a few of them listed down here. Now, a LED, which we see all the time, is actually a diode. It is just a diode that glows in a certain color, and it works exactly the same way. The only difference between one of those and a typical diode, small diode, is that the voltage drop across it is higher than a diode, and that actually depends on the color. You have red diodes which have a certain voltage drop, you have green ones, and you have blue ones. Blue ones or white ones typically have the highest voltage drop, and it can be in order of more than 2 volt. voltage drop over it, where other LEDs will have a voltage drop of 1.5 volt compared to the 0.7 volt over roughly. I mean, these are, depends on the diode. There's also a type called a Schottky diode. A Schottky diode typically have a lower voltage drop across it, typically in the order of 0.4 to 0.5 volt, but it depends on the actual component. So always look at the data sheet. So in order to explain, as I have done in all the other videos in this series, I like to fire up a simulation. And as usual, there is a link to the simulation I'm using in this particular video. It is linked on the page. So you can just click there and it will fire up the circuit simulation as seen here. Now, this circuit simulation, we have a voltage source over here. Actually, let's stop and reset. Over here, we have a voltage source of 5 volt. It could be 3.3, it doesn't matter. Then we have a resistor of 160 ohm, and then we have a diode. And because this is connected 5 volt here, 0 volt here, a voltage drop over the resistor, and then a current will flow through because the anode is higher voltage than the cathode. Now, there will be around 5 volt minus the voltage drop over this one up here and 0 volt down here, but the diode will have a fixed voltage drop. So if I'm saying that this diode will have a forward voltage drop of 0.6 volt or 0.7 volt, or depending on what diode it is, there will be 5 volt here. There will be 0.6 or 0.7 volt here. And then the voltage, the resistor will actually control how much current is running through it. Because one of the things that is important to realize is that the voltage drop over a diode will be fixed. So if we imagine, let's wait, options, show the toolbar. If we imagine we had a circuit like this, where we put a 5 volt directly over, an enormous amount of current will run in the circuit. We can try to run it. It won't actually simulate anything because the diode will blow immediately, because depending on how much current that power supply can deliver, but it will blow immediately. So you must put a resistor in series to if the current can get too high, because these diodes have a maximum current that can flow through them. So if we try to run it now, you can see that a current will flow through it. Now, I said it was a one-way valve. That's difficult to say. Let's try to flip this one around, and you will see that no current flows. There will be 5 volt reverse over, because the cathode is higher than the anode. There will be 5 volt across that diode, and there will be, you can see 170 nanoamps, because they got a leakage current diode. They're not perfect components, but in essence, they are. They do what you say they do. Now, as I mentioned, a LED, and over here I have a LED. It's not the correct symbol, because the correct symbol, but that is a circuitjs limitation. But if we try to replace this diode here with this LED here, you can see that the LED is on. And if we look down here at the voltages, this is this one, you can see there's 5 volt going into the resistor, but over here you can see that there is 1.8. Okay, this LED, this particular LED is 1.85 volt voltage drop. That means the voltage drop over this one must be 3.15 volts. So using Ohm's law, you can calculate how much current is going to flow through it. And if we look at this, you can see that 19.687 milliamps are going through this particular LED. Now, each LED have its own data, and you must look at the data sheet of the LED, but roughly, I would say a good rule of thumb is a LED will have a voltage drop of somewhere between a little less or a little more than 2 volt, and a maximum current typically of about 20 milliamps. If you put more than 20 milliamps through a LED, it will blow. However, you can do much lower current and it will still be quite bright. So we can easily put this one up to, let's say, 1K. We will have the same voltage on both sides, but you can see much less current. The voltages will be the same, roughly, but now there's only 3.3 milliamps going through this particular LED. Just like a normal diode, if you flip this around, it will be off. There will be no light. So you have to put the voltage across in the right direction, then the LED will be on. And the brightness of the LED is somewhat related to how much current is going through it, and that current is not controlled by the LED, because the LED does not, well, it obeys Ohm's law, but the current, the voltage drop is fixed. So in other words, you need a current limiting. Typically, you need a current limiting resistor. Now, I will always in this series, since we have the simulation, start up the simulation for yourself, play around with it, and you will play around with the values, do the calculation, whether the current actually matches your expectations. When you know there is a 1.6 volt drop or 1.7 volt drop over this diode, does it match the current that actually flows in this particular circuit? Before winding up this particular video, let's have a look at a random diode. Now, there are a gazillion diodes out there, but this is one of the classics, one of the first that came out, that small signal diode, and it's called a 1N4148. In this case, W, that's from this particular supplier. It's not part of the, but these exist in different sizes. It exists as true hole, it exists as SMD, and you can see this particular one is a small SMD components. And you can see there's a pin 2, which is the anode, and you have pin 1, which is a cathode. Let's briefly go through the data sheet and look at some of the important values that there is in this data sheet. First of all, continuous forward current, 300 milliamps. So this particular diode, if you have a continuous forward current of more than 300 milliamps, you can expect it to blow up and send out blue smoke. It will simply get too hot. That's it. It's also power dissipation. It's like you have the current and you have the voltage drop, then you can know the power that is actually being dissipated in this particular diode, and that must be below 400 milliwatt. Otherwise, the temperature will get too high. Now, the interesting characteristic is down here at characteristics, and that is the reverse breakdown voltage. Now, if you apply a voltage wrong way around, I mean, it's the purpose of the diode is to block current when that happens, but how high a voltage can you actually apply? And that is called the breakdown voltage, and that is listed here as 75 volt. That means if you put 150 volt across the wrong way, you can expect sparks to happen. You also have this forward voltage, and you will see down here that it is actually to some degree dependent on how much current is running through it. If very little current is running through it, it can be a very low voltage drop. If as that current increases, the voltage drop will also increase slightly, not very much. So you can see at 1 milliamp, this one is 0.715, and at 150 milliamps, it will be 1.25 volt. And that's it. You also have, and this is interesting, the peak reverse current, also known as a leakage current. That is how much current is running if you apply a voltage the wrong way around, and you can see in all cases we are talking microamps. It is very little current that is running through. You will typically have these curves down here where you can see the forward voltage versus the forward current. So as the voltages go up, the current goes up. It's worth having a look at a few of these data sheets, and I have of course linked this particular one on the Wikipedia article. Now that's about all I had planned to say about diodes. I hope you got a better picture of what diodes are actually doing. I should probably have mentioned what they're doing and where you use them typically in a circuit, but I think this video has gotten long enough already. As usual, have a wonderful rest of the day, and let me know in the comments down below whether you think this video was worth your time.